What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today I've got a story time that was sent in to me by this dude. It's from when he was way younger, like could barely talk younger, and he accidentally snitched on his cousin and got him in a little bit of trouble. So yeah, I figured it was just a pretty funny story more than anything, alright? No one's like throwing chairs or flooding houses, but I just thought it was amusing. So it's what we're gonna be talking about today. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so like I said, this person is now like a full-grown adult, right? But way back in the day when they were about 3 or 4, they obviously needed a babysitter to like stay with them when they were alone. Both their parents would work late, so you know, you can't just leave a 3-year-old completely unattended unless you're trying to come back to a burned down house. So they would ask his cousin, who was 21 at the time, to like, you know, babysit him. And the thing about, you know, the weird age range in between like 18 and I would say 22 is that you're an adult, you know, but you're also still kind of stupid. You're in that weird phase where like, yes, technically you do have the ability to vote and you do have the ability to go into tons of debt, but you still have the brain capacity of like a half-warm slug sometimes. You're getting better, you're getting smarter, but you know, you still don't make the greatest decisions ever. But at the same time, when you're a little kid looking up to your older cousin, you consider them to just be like the coolest person ever, you know? I know personally, like I thought that my cousins were basically the coolest thing to ever exist, and this guy's cousin was obviously cool to him. And he was even cooler because, you know, being a 21-year-old, he had decided after he got his first big boy job to go out and buy a new car. And he had gotten this early 2000s muscle car, which was pretty cool, you know, but he was practically acting like he was driving a Ferrari. And because this kid's 3 or 4 years old, he's like, yeah, no, it's basically the coolest car to ever exist because my cool cousin said so. So, you know, one day he's being babysat by his cousin at his house, and the cousin's like, hey, do you want to go for a ride in my super awesome car? And the kid's like, yeah, of course I want to go on a ride in your super awesome car. So they decided to go on a drive, which, you know, started off pretty responsibly. Nothing wrong with that. You get a new car, obviously you want to drive it. And he's not speeding, he's not going crazy or anything, you know, maybe going like 5 above the speed limit, but hey man, I'm not sitting here saying that I never go a little faster than the speed limit, so I'm not gonna judge anyone for that. You know, I don't know if it's the smartest idea to be speeding with your little cousin in the car, but I also just feel like most people go slightly above the speed limit. The real trouble starts when they pull up to a red light and there's another muscle car next to them. And for whatever reason, this dude's cousin, I don't know if he was trying to be cool or, you know, show off or whatever, but he rolls down his window and starts talking to the dudes in the muscle car next to him, and they're talking back and forth about, oh, my car's faster than your car, you know, blah blah blah, and they're like, no, we're faster than you. And then they rev their engine a little bit, he revs their engine, and this is when it just gets really stupid, okay? Because basically what that means is that they're probably gonna like race a little bit as soon as the light turns green. And listen, taking your little cousin for a drive, that's cool, you know, speeding a little bit, alright. Going street racing with your little cousin in the car is when you cross the line of like really bad idea, you know? I don't think you need to be Albert Einstein to realize this is just generally not a good idea. Street racing in general is stupid. Doing it with children in the car that look up to you, even dumber. But whatever, he's kind of big ego mode about like, oh, we're gonna beat these dudes in a race. And the little cousin tells him, hey, I don't know if that's the best idea. And if your little cousin who's like 3 or 4 is starting to give you advice and saying something's a bad idea, you might want to listen, because I feel like if anything, little kids would be like, car race time, let's go! If they're against it, you might want to think twice, but whatever. He's like, no, it'll be fun. And so the light turns green and they're on like a residential street, obviously, near some neighborhoods. Like, okay, they're coming down and there's neighborhoods on either side. There's lights, it's slightly busier than like a neighborhood road, but they're not on a freeway, you know, they're kind of on like a 4-lane road, 2 on either side, just cruising through this residential area. And as soon as the light turns green, his cousin stomps on the gas. And they start taking off a little bit and he's like, oh, look at how fast we're going. But the cousin, the little one, realizes that the other car didn't take off like they did. They weren't racing. And he mentions to his older cousin, hey, why didn't they race? And at that moment, he looks in the rearview mirror and just goes, oh no. And sure enough, as soon as the oh no happens, whoop whoop, whoop whoop, the lights turn on, man, and there was a cop behind him. You would think if you're revving your engine at the red light getting ready to race, you know, A, you shouldn't do it, but B, you think you would look around a little bit, you know, maybe take in the surroundings before you just just slam on the gas like Vin Diesel in Fast and Furious? Because if he would have taken 15 seconds to look around, he probably would have realized that there was a cop car behind him at the red light. Honestly, street racing in general is probably just not the move, you know? I'm not trying to sound like I'm crapping on fun, okay? I love Fast and Furious as much as the next guy. That being said, doing it in real life, pretty sure in most states it's like automatic felony level. Probably just not worth street racing in general. But especially if you're not going to be paying attention, it's double not worth it, and especially with your cousin in the car. Anyways, the cop is now going behind them, and at this point, the little cousin looks over at the speedometer and sees that they're going 70 miles per hour, right? That'll be important later. So the cousin pulls over, and the cop walks up to the window, and he goes, "Do you know why I'm stopping you today?" And he goes, "Because I was speeding." And he says, "And how fast do you think you are going?" And the cousin at that point is kind of like trying to work out the math in his head, because if you don't know, speeding tickets work in a way of like, if you're going a certain amount over the speed limit, they can nail you with like really bad speeding, reckless driving. And I think, you know, I've never got a ticket this bad. It's like mile per hour base, like if you're going over a certain amount. And so he was going 70. They're in a 35 mile per hour zone. Double the speed limit's probably enough to get in trouble, right? So he's doing the math in his head and he's like, I was going 55, you know, because he's like, all right, I'll get a bad ticket, but I won't be arrested. And his little cousin, who remembers a little kid and doesn't really know any better, goes, "No, you weren't. You were going 70. And the cop laughs, right? Because it's just like funny. And he goes, No, I wasn't. Shh, you don't know what you're talking about. And the cop is like, "Listen, I wasn't expecting you to take off like that. I don't know how fast you were going. I just know you were going well over the speed limit, so I'll be back." And he walks away, and at that point, the older cousin starts freaking out because he's pretty sure that, you know, the car's about to be taken. Like, not, you know, 1,000,000%, but if the cop believes he was going 70, it's not his first rodeo speeding, and that's like double the speed limit, you know, not the best time ever. And on top of that, it was about to be a street race. Thankfully, the other guy didn't take off, otherwise this would have been a lot worse. Like, honestly, this guy's got to be thanking his lucky stars that the other muscle car realized there was a cop. Could you imagine? He pulls them both over for going 70 and a 35. Like, it's just not a good situation. So he should thank his lucky stars the other guy didn't take off. But whatever, the cop is gone for a little bit and he ends up coming back and he goes, "Look, I'm tempted to believe your cousin that you were going 70. That being said, I'm gonna cite you for going 50. You know, that means that it was like 15 miles per hour over the speed limit, and I guess in the state they're in, like 16 miles per hour is what takes it up a level or something." So the cop was giving him a huge break by not just like, you know, giving him the biggest ticket imaginable. He says, "Slow down though, and you know, be lucky that your cousin like entertained me," you know? Which I don't know if that's the greatest thing ever, but basically he's like, "Look, I can tell you're crapping your pants right now, and I'm not gonna screw you as much as I could. That being said, you better drive safe from now on." And his cousin is like, yeah, of course. And, you know, after the cop walked away, he was like, because he still got a ticket, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been, right? So he ends up going home, and he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna get better about driving. And he actually did stop speeding as much after that, right? No more racing for him, but all in all, like, the fact that his cousin just was gonna snitch on him and say he was going 70 is pretty funny. Obviously, the little kid doesn't know any better. He's just like, no, we were going 70 miles per hour. He doesn't understand what's happening. And on top of that, bro, if you don't want your little cousin to be snitching for how fast you were going when you were trying to race, just don't bring him. Obviously, your like 3-4-year-old cousin is gonna be like, "No, we were going so fast." Oh man, I cannot do that high voice like I used to. Regardless, the cousin did end up getting in a lot of trouble with this kid's parents because he told them everything that had happened and they were like, "You were being so reckless," which, yeah, I mean, you can't blame them for that, dude. If I found out that I was paying someone to babysit and they were like speeding around in their car challenging people to races, I'd probably be pretty pissed off too. It's just not something that's the smartest idea alone, but especially when you're babysitting, dude, like there's just a list of things you shouldn't do while babysitting, and car racing's near the top of the list, you know? Along with money laundering. And considering this is almost 20 years ago now, obviously, it's just water under the bridge. It's more something they just like joke about whenever they see each other, you know? His cousin will be like, "Hey, remember that time you almost got me arrested?" And he's like, "Haha, yeah." As for like why he was freaking out so much, you know, reckless driving in general, I think messes with your license, but there's like a point system, and he had already gotten speeding tickets, so he already had points. So if he would have gotten like a fat ticket, it probably would have pushed him over the point threshold to like get his license taken away or something. I don't know exactly how it all works, okay? I've never been in this situation, but from what I understand from how it was explained to me, it's something along those lines. Either way though, man, his cousin grew up, he has like his own family now, no more speeding, no more street racing, but for a little bit he decided decided to bring along the world's worst co-driver. Overall, would just recommend avoiding street racing in general, unless you are Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Vin Diesel, all right? They're about the only two people that have ever made it work, and that's in Hollywood. I think if you do it in real life, you probably just get arrested after a while. Oh, and that one Discovery Plus show that's like American Street Racers. How are those guys not arrested? They just film themselves doing it, no? I've never seen it. Either way, guys, I just thought this was a funny story time you guys would enjoy. I know it's not crazy long, it's not super insane, I just found it amusing. If you did, please be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought. If you don't know what to comment, just go ahead and comment the word vroom down below, you know, like a car engine, get it? I would appreciate it. And other than that, if you ever want to listen to these offline without gameplay, whatever floats your boat, I post them on Spotify. So that link will be in the description. Feel free to go check it out. But yeah, on that note, guys, that'll do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'm gonna go drive a car now. Hopefully I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.